Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, July 28th, 2021. This is live stream 681. So if this is your first time joining me, let me point out that this is very, very casual. We are not performing rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. We're just hanging out, having some fun, talking about tabletop games. So we like to cover board games, role-playing games, miniatures games, you name it. If it's going on your tabletop, we're probably talking about it. So about half of the show is devoted to the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then the second half, or more, or less, tends to be a look at a game. So tonight, we are actually going to take a first look and page through Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Middenheim, City of the White Wolf. So funny enough, this just showed up today. In fact, I had quite a few things show up today, I was like, holy cow. I had to make 3 trips down here to the Duct Tape Studios. But that's just because I can only lift like 5 pounds. I'm not allowed to lift anything heavier than about 5 pounds. But I thought Altdorf Crown of the Empire was coming from Cubicle 7 Entertainment for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And I shout out, hey, I'm going to give away a PDF of Altdorf. And of course, that was not part of the package. So, which is okay, which is fine. I guess it's not in print yet. I just assumed that was part of the package, or I thought I had seen that was part of the package that's coming. So tonight we're actually looking at Middenheim, but I will be giving away a PDF to a lucky viewer. So stay tuned. All right. Anyway, should mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the dispatch airs live right here on YouTube, it'll also tell you when I upload other videos, such as my interview with Mark Greenberg yesterday of Necromancer Games, and we talked about Necropolis, which is an adventure. It was originally written by Gary Gygax, which I actually didn't know until yesterday. Before we jumped into the interview, I was doing a little bit of research, and I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I think it was originally written for Dangerous Journeys or Legendary Adventures, but it was a Gary Gygax adventure, and Mark has kind of revamped it, and that's what's up on Kickstarter. I'm going to talk about that as well. I've got a news piece coming up, but it was a really fun interview, and found out that Mark actually lives in a suburb. Yeah, we call them suburbs usually, even if we're pretty far out from the city. But a suburb of Chicago that's like 30 minutes from me. Thought that was pretty wild. Anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. All right, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, since this is a live stream, that means chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you also do have to be a subscriber to the channel in order to take part in chat. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, a comment, a concern, fire away. I will do my best to respond. So far, John Vogel was first out the gate saying hello. We got Mel Winius from York, Theodore Moretti Govea taking a stab. I believe this is the first time that Theodore has joined us in chat, so welcome aboard. We're going to dive right into the news because I've got a little bit more news than usual. And of course, we are going to do a page through for Middenheim, City of the White Wolf. So let's get started because this winter is going to see the arrival of Caesar's Empire from Holy Grail Games and Luma Imports. Here's what I know. The one who brings the most glory to Rome will be richly rewarded. Caesar's Empire is a Euro game about building roads, set in the world of the beloved comic series Asterix. However, instead of playing as one of the indomitable Gauls, players will be siding with the great Julius Caesar. As members of the Emperor's entourage, they'll have been tasked with expanding the limits of his empire. In Caesar's Empire, players build roads to connect Rome to new cities across the player board. Of course, because all roads lead to Rome. Caesar's Empire uses a simple network building mechanic. Each time you build a road, you must connect Rome to a new city by placing one or more of your road pieces onto the game board. You may build your road anywhere you like on the board as long as you start from either Rome or a city whose token has already been taken. This means you may be continuing a road started by another player. Each time a player reaches a new city, they score points, and cities provide city and treasure tokens that will be worth additional points at the end of the game. The game ends when Rome is connected to every city on the board. After adding the value of the city and treasure tokens they collected to the points scored during the game, the player with the most points wins. Caesar's Empire is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, plays in 30 to 60 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it arrives in the fourth quarter. Nice. You know, I'm always on the lookout for games that are not necessarily from the big name publishers out there. And I know Luma Imports, they bring a lot of stuff into North America, but I was not overly familiar with Holy Grail Games. I saw this. I thought this looks pretty nice. I get a kick out of your road pieces. Look like they're little Roman soldiers in the style of the Asterix comic. I thought that was kind of funny. All right, moving right along. So we've got Boris and Doug Roberts joining us in chat. Welcome, welcome. Happy Hump Day. Arriving in September from Damn Things and Pendragon Game Studio by way of Ares Games is Diabolique Heists and Investigations. Here's the dope. In Diabolique Heists and Investigations, players will experience in first person the impossible thefts that are told every month in the comic books, both from the side of Diabolique and Eva Kant and from Inspector Ginkgo and the police. The mechanics are that of hidden movement, but with the exception that when discovered, the criminals will be forced to flee on the main board, visible to all cops. Thanks to the cards, every turn offers different situations. The criminals will have to complete 2 heists out of the 3 available to win the game, and to do so, they will have to move hidden in the shadows leaving traces of their path that the police will have to find to ruin the plans of the criminals. The police will have the hard job of investigating the traces of Diabolique and Eva, but they are not alone. In fact, they will have the opportunity to call 4 total police officers to help. Well, that's not much of a force. They're committing these impossible crimes. Give me 4 cops. Just joking. Anyway, these police officers will help keep every corner of the city under observation. To win the game, the cops will have to raise the danger level to the maximum on the danger track. Usually, solving a clue increases the danger level by 1 point, but that's not the only way to do it. On the other hand, if Eva or Diabolique complete a heist, the danger level is lowered. In their turn, each player can perform a maximum of 3 individual actions. The only exception is for drawing, discarding, or playing cards, which is a repeatable action. Diabolique Heists and Investigations is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 90 minutes, will carry an MSRP of $49.90 when it arrives in September. So this is on the near horizon. I believe Diabolique is a French comic book. I think. I am not positive, but I think it is. It's either French or Spanish. But I thought this is kind of interesting. It's based on a comic. So we actually have our first news pieces have a kind of connection to comic books. First one was Asterix, and now we have a Diabolique, which I gotta say, I'm like, it's not easy to just say Diabolique Heists and Investigations and keep rolling on from there. It's kind of throwing me a little bit. All right, so let's see. Keldon is here in chat with us. And did I say hello to Doug Roberts? I don't know if I did, but I know I did not say hello to 245 Trioxin. Welcome to Wednesday here at the Dispatch. Looks like we got a good chat going so far. Sweet. Very, very nice. Looks like Kevin Smith is with us as well. Yes, I see Kevin is with us. All right, moving right along. I kind of alluded to this before we jumped into the news, but there's a very interesting looking fantasy adventure for both 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons and Swords and Wizardry, which is up on Kickstarter for Necromancer Games. Here's the skinny on Necropolis. Based on the original work by the Grand Master himself, Gary Gygax, Necropolis is an epic desert adventure series for 5e D&D and Swords and Wizardry. Previously published by Necromancer Games as a D20 system adventure, it has been entirely updated and revised by Mark Greenberg, who, as I mentioned, I interviewed yesterday, co-author of The World of the Lost Lands by Frog God Games. D&D obviously is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. Necromancer Games and Frog God Games are not affiliated with Wizards of the Coast or the Gygax estate. This grand adventure is set in the Triple Kingdom of Kemet on the continent of Libynos in the Lost Lands, the world of Frog God Games and Necromancer Games. Necropolis is designed for a party of 6 to 8 seasoned characters starting between 7th and 9th level and will challenge even the most experienced players. The book you'll receive includes a multiple stage adventure, taking the party from an oasis village to the depths of a long-lost tomb, together with a wealth of other material that can be used to expand a campaign into this desert land, including details of the village of Artot and its environs, the Temple of Osiris, the Necropolis, and the legendary Tomb of Rahotep. There's a poster map of the tomb, information about the Triple Kingdom of Kemet, wilderness encounter tables, dozens of NPCs with detailed character notes, almost 50 new monsters, new character options, spells, and magic items. Altogether, there's enough material for dozens of hours of play over weeks or even months of game sessions. There is a quick minute and a half Kickstarter video for Necropolis, so let's give it a peek.
I will say his name just this once, and only whisper it. The name of this evil one is Rotep.
Deep in the deserts of ancient Kemet, the land of the pharaohs, is a forgotten necropolis where long ago the mighty were buried with treasures untold, and where there is another tomb, within which lies one whose name few dare speak. An adventure for seasoned characters that will challenge even the most experienced players. An all-in-one full-color volume, lavishly illustrated with maps by the industry's leading cartographers. Enough background and material for dozens of hours of play over weeks or even months of game sessions. Pledge options include virtual tabletop packs, a collector's edition leather-bound edition, and a GM screen. Something has awoken within the necropolis. Do you have the courage to rid this land at last of a terrifying evil? Now on Kickstarter.
The project for Necropolis is past the 400% funding mark. You can reserve a copy in either flavor, 5e or Swords and Wizardry. You can get those digitally for a $30 pledge, or you can grab the hardcover for a $55 pledge through August 21st. Expected delivery for the digital products is actually this December, with the hardcovers to arrive next February. Do want to point out that there are options for overseas backers, but the hardcover, you can't get it. You're going to have to look at the print-on-demand softcover. The project goes into more detail about it, but I mean, it's a shipping issue. It's pretty crazy. Well, once again, yesterday, which was Gary Gygax's day, so it was kind of interesting that here I was interviewing Mark Greenberg talking about an adventure originally written by Gary Gygax on Gary Gygax's day. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But if you would like to find out a lot more detail about this project, even more than you would find on the Kickstarter page, by all means, check out my interview with Mark that went up yesterday. All right, moving right along, there is a new bundle of holding that's arrived. It features the UK retro fantasy role-playing game Warlock from Fire Ruby Designs. Here's the scoop. Adventurer! This Warlock bundle features, you guessed it, Warlock, the tabletop fantasy role-playing game from Fire Ruby Designs, inspired by the early days of British role-playing. Ready your Warhammer, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, for rules-light adventure in the dark yet wondrous spirit of early Games Workshop and the Fighting Fantasy game books. Designed by Greg Saunders, Warlock offers career-based characters, concise rules, and a unified 1d20 plus skill mechanic that adapts easily to published grim and perilous adventures and helps you create your own stories. For just $7.95, you get all 4 titles in the starter collection, which have a retail value of $28, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Warlock core rulebook, the location sourcebooks Kingdom and Griff's Vale, and the scenario Three's Company. Come and knock on our door. Oh, sorry, wrong Three's Company. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $16.67, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection, with 6 more titles worth an additional $42, including both Warlock compendiums, along with the character book Rogues Gallery, the Phantasmagoria Bestiary, location source book Bridgetown, and the descriptively titled Goblins. These savings run through August 16th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this Warlock Offers pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. Cool. I gotta say, to me, I think this is a smoking deal because essentially, for less than $17, you can get your hands on pretty much everything that's out there right now for Warlock. And I have heard good things about it. As we can see, it is a platinum seller for over at DriveThruRPG. So very interesting. We've got a couple of bundles out there right now that are very, very enticing. We got that 13th Age Humble Bundle for $25. You'll get 30, well, I think it's 30 PDFs, but you get maps and posters and music as well. And here for $16.67, you can get pretty much everything for Warlock, a very well-received retro UK old school role-playing game. So pretty sweet. Moving right along, there is a new supplement for Delta Green. It has arrived from Arc Dream Publishing. Here's the deets on Arcint. Archaeological intelligence. Some analysts develop signals intelligence, or SIGINT. Some develop human intelligence, HUMANT. And Delta Green deals in older secrets. It needs archaeological intelligence. Arcint, a study of appalling dangers left in hidden places. It needs agents to look into horrors so that others can turn away. Agents like yours. This book features the amulet of Ayapa, blood of the feeder, the Brixton shard, the eggs of Apep, the Gaudy shape, the Hanaku mask, the Kerrville executable, the Miranov object, the Renatur device, the Stone of Yos, and of their chest. Some reason that's in quotes. Arcint is a full-color sourcebook for Delta Green, the role-playing game of Lovecraftian horror and modern conspiracy. The 34-page Delta Green Arcint is available in softcover for $14.99, or you can get it in PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $4.99. Do have to mention this is not on sale during the Christmas in July sale that's going on right now over at DriveThruRPG, which I found, well, I guess it is brand spanking new, but usually see almost everything on sale during the Christmas in July. All right, my final news piece was something that popped up earlier today. I know this was something that was on the horizon. I did not realize that this was going to hit today. But the Doctor Who role-playing game 2nd edition is out in PDF. It is also available for pre-order from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. And here's what you need to know. The award-winning Doctor Who the role-playing game has regenerated into a new 2nd edition that is faster, easier, and even more exciting. This book presents all the rules and background you need to voyage across space and time with the Doctor or his new characters experiencing brand new epic adventures. This core rulebook includes complete character creation rules to allow you to bring to life a new time-traveling adventurer to explore space and time aboard the TARDIS. They could be companions to the Doctor or a new Time Lord of your own creation, time agents, or investigators and defenders of planet Earth. The complete revised rules for playing Doctor Who, the role-playing game, is also a new and updated version of the popular Vortex system It's completely compatible with the first edition of the game as well. Second edition makes gameplay faster, easier, and quicker to learn while keeping all of the dramatic action you'd expect from an episode of Doctor Who. There's advice for game masters, new and old, on how to make the experience of Doctor Who, the role-playing game, feel like you're living an episode of the TV series, as well as how to create exciting storylines and continuing campaigns. There's revised rules for creating your group's own TARDIS or other time travel devices to allow them to adventure from the dawn of history to the very ends of the universe. Be sure to check out the restaurant there at the end of the universe. An expansive look at the history of said universe, detailing many of the aliens and creatures the Doctor has encountered across time and space. Pre-generated character sheets for the Doctor and her companions, ready to play straight away. The 256-page hardcover core book is available as a pre-order, which will also get you the PDF immediately. You can pre-order for $49.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. The expected release of the physical book will be in the first quarter of 2022. Nice. Glad to see a new edition of the Doctor Who role-playing game. We had been discussing, in fact, I mentioned it on the last show, that it seemed like Cubicle 7 was really highly focused on essentially Games Workshop properties, which is fine. I mean, they're doing great stuff. But there are a lot of other, Doctor Who as a great example, hadn't seen much pop up for. So here we've got the second edition. And I had just heard about this second edition the other day. And funny thing is, I got a message on DriveThruRPG saying, hey, Cubicle 7 has sent you a PDF. I was like, oh, what's new for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay or Wrath and Glory or Age of Sigmar Soulbound? And I took a peek and I was like, oh, hey, the second edition is already out for the Doctor Who role-playing game? Sweet. So, I see the Kabuki Kid has joined us. It's been a while since we had Double K in the house. So, Russell Higgins has joined us as well. Says, ew, the bad Doctor. I got to be honest. Now, I did not watch all of the past season. And to me, Jodie Whittaker's fine. I have got absolutely no beef with Jodie Whittaker. It's just it was the same thing with Peter Capaldi. I just don't think they're very good stories. So Russell Higgins says Pluto TV has a Doctor Who channel. So what do they have, like 20 episodes they just repeat? Because my best friend Elliot watches, if I remember right, he watches the MST3K Pluto TV channel while he's working because he works from home. And he had told me, he says, yeah, they got like 10 episodes that they just repeat. I was like, and you have this on every day? He's like, it's just noise in the background. 245 Triaxon says, Tom Baker was the best Doctor. He was my Doctor. He was my first introduction to Doctor Who. And I pointed out a few times before that the episode where he regenerates and into Peter Davidson. In fact, I was at Elliot's house. It was a Sunday night because we got Channel 11 in Chicago. We got our Doctor Who on Sunday night. So I was hanging out and we had school the next day. And I just was spending the night and that episode aired and we were like, what? What happened? Because we never saw any other Doctors, right? So Russell says they dig John Pertwee. So do I. I really like John Pertwee too. I would have liked to have seen the John Pertwee episodes not all be set on Earth. And I understand why they did that, why they exiled him to Earth. I had to laugh. Kabuki Kid was like, exfoliate, exfoliate. Nice. Very nice. So there you have it. You got the brand new Doctor Who, the role-playing game, second edition, out in PDF over at DriveThruRPG. Keep in mind, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG maybe, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those little portions, those nickels, dimes, and quarters, really do help keep the gaming gang around. JP Falconer Honor is in the house. Good to see you, JPF. We got a good chat going so far, it looks like. So JPF says they subscribe to BritBox just to watch all the classic Doctor Who. I have tons of Doctor Who on portable drives. Yep, tons of it. I actually own, well, okay, so I don't own the Peter Capaldi episodes. I don't own the Jodie Whittaker episodes. But everybody else I have. I have them all digitally. Now, some are not great quality, but I got, if they exist. Something, I know we're going to start getting into a Doctor Who thing. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Doctor Who show. I'm Frank. I'll be your host. So, yeah, Kevin mentions Tom Baker was lots of people's doctor because he was on the show for so long. But, I like everybody. I've thought everybody was fine. I was not a Matt Smith fan, but it's not his fault. Once again, I didn't find the episodes all that great. And I kind of got tired of, oh gosh, now I can't even think of Karen Gillan's character's name. She's always crying. I was like, come on. So, alrighty. So I should also mention that the first week of the Gaming Gang game auction is underway. I have 11 different items that are up. One of them some of them contain more than just one item. So I have some role-playing game stuff, some war game stuff, some regular board game stuff. And what I'm going to do is every week I'll have about 10 to 12 different offerings, I guess we'll say, because there's others that I have together. And that way I'm not overwhelmed trying to ship stuff out like the last time I did that. And see what happens. See what happens. I will point out that I do have 4 of the 5e Adventures in Middle Earth books that are out of print, never to see the light of day again, as one of the offerings as well. So just floating that out there. So if you like, if you like what I do, if you like the channel, if you like the website, and you're looking for some games, take a peek. Also, somebody had emailed asking if they happen to win an item, is it possible for me to hold on to it so that they can see what else is coming up for the auction? I can do that for like the week. So as an example, on Sunday is when I'm going to post the new stuff, but then the previous week's auction doesn't end until like 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Central on Sunday. So if you happen to be the winner of something on Sunday, you'll see what's out there for the next week. So can kind of take it from there. But I don't want to hang on to it for weeks and weeks and weeks. So talking about the second Doctor, yes, Patrick Troughton, who it really sucks that, well, I guess it's a lot of stuff that was on the BBC back at that point in time the tapes were all wiped so they could be reused again. So the vast majority of Patrick Troughton's run as the second Doctor is gone. Every once in a while, they'll find some tape from middle of nowhere. I think there was one adventure that they found in South Africa from a television station in South Africa. So I thought that was pretty wild. I thought that was pretty cool. All right. So moving right along, tonight we are going to be taking a first look at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Middenheim, City of the White Wolf from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. It's written by, and I'm going to mispronounce a lot of people's names, so I apologize right up front. It's written by Dave Allen, who's probably at large, Jim Bombra, Paul Cockburn, Graham Davis, and Sean Masterson, with artwork provided by Mario Olochi, Judita Betty, Emilio R. Camarina, taking a stab, Domenico Cava, Antonio Di Luca, Danielle Kovacs, Joseph Katrina, Sam Manley, Andrea, or might be Andrea, Tenton Montalto? Sorry, folks. J.G. O'Donohue, Eliza Surio, Stanislav Sherbakov, and Giacomo Tapaner. This 160-page hardcover is available for $39.99. You can also grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Do want to point out that this is on sale for the Christmas in July. I want to say it's 25% off. So let's swing on over to the other camera. Do want to also point out that I will be giving away not one, but 2 copies of Middenheim, City of the White Wolf in PDF tonight. Got to be watching live. I was going to give away one because if you tuned in a little late, I just got this today. So I got a few packages today, but I thought Altdorf, Crown of the Empire, was one of the books that was on its way. So I kept saying, oh yeah, hey, that's what we're going to look at today. Because I knew the package was arriving today. So I opened it up and I'm like, oh, wait. Altdorf's not in this. It's like, duh. All right. So let's take a look at the back. So, of course, do have to point out that the fine folks over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment were kind enough to send this along for review. I'm not going to read everything, but Middenheim, City of the White Wolf, takes players out of the familiar grand province of the Reichland and drops them in the center of Ulrican influence and power in the old world. Middenheim sits at the heart of the Empire's northern expanse and is the perfect setting for endless, grim, and perilous adventure. Each district of the expansive city is carefully detailed, with locations, plot hooks, and NPCs too numerous to list. A beautifully illustrated map provided with both GM and player versions shows off the city in exquisite detail. Middenheim, City of the White Wolf, distills the best of previous writing on the chosen city of Ulrich and combines it with new characters, new NPCs, new locations, and rules to create the ultimate source book for groups wishing to adventure in Middenheim and its surrounds. Full rules for creating Middenheimer, Middenlander, and Nordlander characters are included, along with a new career for true devotees of Ulrich. Joe Robert has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Joe. Welcome aboard. All right, so this is the fortress city of Middenheim. Let's pop on in here. I am going to flip on through this. We'll talk a little bit about this as well. Do want to mention that the 2 copies that I'm going to be giving away in PDF, I am going to ask trivia questions for you to win. I kind of get a kick out of asking trivia questions, and the first one to get me the correct answer, or sometimes it's closest to number to being correct, is a winner. All right. So this is dedicated to the memory of Carl Sargent. Cool. Some pretty nice artwork here. So we're going to get into the city itself. I think this is just going to be kind of like some generalization of this also. You know, it's kind of funny because this is the Middenheim, the city of the White Wolf. And every time I see that, well, maybe not every time, but when I see that, I immediately think of Elric of Melniboné. Like the White Wolf. So Joe says, I'm looking good. Hey, feeling pretty good. Lost a few pounds. I am starting my cardio rehab on Monday. So it'll be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Oh boy, oh joy. So just taking a peek on through here. So it looks like this is more of kind of a timeline. Well, that. As soon as they start mentioning a timeline, then we get a timeline. All right. The city today, talking about the rulers of the city, various noble houses, no doubt. The cult of Ulrich, Knights of the White Wolf. So we got some information about some guilds. The Knight Eternal, the City Watch, how to get to Middenheim. Now, the reason why this was introduced is, now I got to be honest, I have not started reading The Horned Rat because I have the PDFs. I usually, when I know that the physical books are on their way, that's when I start reading the PDFs to prep for the review. But since I haven't heard anything about the Horned Rat, I haven't gotten into them yet. Doesn't that take place in Middenheim? Isn't that where? Could have swore. I don't know. Maybe I'm cracking up. So we have some locations. So we got a slaughterhouse, the Horse and Groom, the Tardy Ass, Midland Farmers Association, Bretonian House Inn. That's kind of cool. Wow, there's actually quite a few locales being discussed here in the city. The Grand Guild of Wizards. I like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I've had a few people ask how easy I think it would be to port over to, say, an OSR role-playing game. And my response is always, well, it depends on what game. You know? If you're going to try to port it over to, say, first edition D&D, advanced D&D, I would think pretty tough. If you wanted to try to port it over to, say, Dungeon World, I would think it'd be really easy. So, could it be done with, I would say, if you're doing a rules light OSR, like the Black Hack, I could see easily porting this stuff over. And even though the game mechanics of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay are completely different than the standard D20 games, I think you could. There's a lot. There's a real, to me at least, there's a real kind of old school vibe to a lot of, especially the adventures for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And I obviously enough, when we're talking about the enemy within, that's because it is from, like, the 80s. But I mean, some of their like adventure collections and things like that, the adventures have kind of an old school vibe to it. So Kevin's asking, WFRP is percentile based, right? Yes. Yes, it is. So it's closer, I guess, in theory to like RuneQuest or basic role playing from Chaosium, although it's not that either. Combat is very lethal. In fact, there's some optional rules to make it even more lethal. But one thing that is very different than your traditional fantasy role-playing games is the whole concept of advantage, where there's momentum shifts during a fight. And if the momentum shifts too far for one side or one character, I mean, that's pretty much it. So Kabuki Kid says WFRP in Cincinnati, or maybe I should say WFRP in Cincinnati. All right, so we are into a bit of, this looks like we're kind of seeing different sections of the city. Now, I believe we're going to, yeah, okay, so we're in it's a visitor's guide, essentially. So Joe Roberts says, Lonnie Anderson starring in WFRP. So we see we've got important NPCs throughout. But as Kevin points out, it's pretty easy to convert odds to a D20. Well, yeah, each number should, on a 20-sider, would be 5%. So, a 2 is 10%. So if you got to roll 2 or less, you got a 10% chance, right? Kabuki Kid says, a lot of fish hooks. Yes, I believe those are adventure hooks. So as we can see, we're just going through, showing us different sections of the city. The wind. It's another radio station. There you go. So Russell Higgins is with us. Good to see you, Russell. Thanks for swinging on in. Commission of Public Works. The Undercity. So essentially, we have spent about 100 pages discussing inside the city. So pretty cool, pretty wild. Now we get beyond the walls. So I think this is going to be more like a gazetteer. So who's ready to win a copy of Middenheim, City of the White Wolf in PDF? So we will continue the page through in just a moment. But I figure what I'll do is I will roll out a little bit of trivia and have everybody have till the end of the page through to get their answers in. And then we'll see what we've got. So I don't think it'll take that long for people to get the answers to this. So I'm just pulling these trivia questions out of the air. It's not something I was thinking about. All right. So, first trivia question is, how many pages is this book? I told you. I told you coming in. Told you how many pages there were. So Melwinius points out that they enjoyed the first look of Space Co-op Ventures the other night, and they went and picked it up. Cool. All right. So one thing I have to point out, when you make your guess, then that's your guess. So you can't make multiple guesses. You can't say, oh, it's this, no, this, no, this. Wait, no, it's that. All right. So everybody can pop their guesses on in. I'll give you my second question. The race of rat people in Warhammer Fantasy are called what? See, we got a image of them right up here that I'm cutting off. All right, Russell Higgins is the winner of the page count. So it is 160 pages. That is correct. Russell zipped over to DriveThruRPG to find out. Now, Russell, now I got to come up with another question because Russell hit us up both with the. So, hey, Russell wins both. Both PDFs. He's got both of them. All right. Oh, so we get a bestiary. That's cool. So we've got the Bloody Hidesman, the Child of Ulrich, White Wolves, Spectre, and that's it. So we get 4 entries. Okay, so Russell's already won, so Russell can't answer. Here's our next trivia question. So this supplement features the city of Middenheim. What area of the old world do most of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay books and adventures take place in? And it was mentioned earlier if you were paying attention. Right, so we've got farming in the Grand Duchy, or Duchy. I've heard people call it Duchy. I had never heard that. I don't know. I don't think that's a correct pronunciation, but still. Green skin presence. So Kabuki Kid says, I probably missed it while my boyfriend was talking to me. You notice, well, I don't know how. Yes, correct. It's Perth Amboy, New Jersey. JPF, right on the money. Right on the money. I was going to say, usually when I pronounce it, I normally will kind of give it an odd, kind of like a little bit of a lilt to it. I don't pronounce it like straight out. Russell sitting there, I know. No, Russell already won. Look at this. I'm running out of pages. Got to get that correct answer in. So Kabuki Kid says they always jokingly say that Perth Amboy is Native American for bad smell. That's what they always said Chicago stood for. I think it's smelly onion. I've heard all different, but it's usually something smelly. Smelly place, smelly swamp, which a lot of people don't realize that the area that is now the lakefront was all kind of like swampy marsh. that was actually filled in for the World's Fair of 1893. Pretty wild. So where the Museum of Science and Industry and stuff like that is, that was all just kind of crappy swampland. So, all right. Okay, so do I need to come up with another trivia question? We'll go a couple more pages. I'll give you the Eaters of the World. That kind of reminds me of Joe Abercrombie's. Well, it's the first trilogy is the first. I think it's called the First Law trilogy. I'm not sure how many of you out there watching are familiar with that series. Excellent, in my opinion, excellent. Really, really good. In fact, I am listening to an audiobook of the fourth book that Joe Abercrombie did. It's kind of a standalone. Served cold. All right. So, all right, let's try to think of a different question. All right, so the answer to the question I had asked is the Reichland. Reichland. That's where most of the adventures take place. That's why there's quite a few, well, I don't want to say quite a few supplements, but there's supplemental material and then the campaign that's in the midst of it. All right, here we go. Here's the next. I'll give you another question. So, give me the name of one author who's affiliated with more than one chapter of the Enemy Within campaign. And I interviewed one of the people. So there's your other one. All right, so this is the appendix here. Middenball, it's a team sport. So looks like it's a sport like almost like football and soccer. Oh, I should say American football. Right? And European football. So it's talking about that's pretty wild. It's like almost like a mini game. It's got the different teams and who makes up the teams and how you play the game. So it's almost like a little board game in this. So here we've got the character creation. So you can, instead of Reichlanders, you can create Middenheimers, Middenlanders, Nordlanders. Phil Gallagher. Phil Gallagher would be correct. Phil Gallagher is a correct answer. So 245 Trioxin has won our other copy of Middenheim, City of the White Wolf. So are these pre-gens? I think these are pre-gens. Kind of giving you a bit of a feel for these other characters. So here, I thought somebody might guess Graham Davis. So, because I know I mentioned a lot of names early before we started taking a look, but the authors, I think there were 5 who've contributed to this book, and Graham's one of them. And he was very nice. He was a lot of fun. I've talked to him a couple of Gen Cons. We've chatted and interviewed him at both most recent Gen Cons. All right, so that is Middenheim, City of the White Wolf for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. So I will have a review of this in the very near future. I've got a couple more Cubicle 7 books that arrived. I've got, I don't have them right next to me, so I can't think of the titles right off the top of my head. I think one of them is I think it's the Empire Archives Volume 1, which is an adventure supplement, if I remember correctly. And the other is an Age of Sigmar Soulbound as well. So, sweet. Very nice, very nice. Once again, this 160-page hardcover is available from Cubicle 7 Entertainment for $39.99, which also includes the PDF. If you want just the PDF alone, then swing on over to DriveThruRPG. It's available for $19.99. It is also part of the sale for Christmas in July. So it's like $16.47 or something. So Russell is asking, have I played any of it? Any of what? Not sure. Are you asking if I've played any Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay? Yeah, I've run some. If that's what you're asking. Yeah, I've run some. All right. Anyway. See anything else floating around in chat here? I don't think so. I think we're pretty caught up. All right. So for those who won the PDFs, all you got to do is shoot me an email over at jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com, and I will send you a link for you to download your PDF. Easy peasy. Oh, City of the White Wolf. No, this just showed up today. This book showed up today. This is part of a shipment I got from Cubicle 7. That's why if you follow me on Twitter, or if you follow the community page on YouTube, I was saying, hey, tonight I'm looking at Altdorf, because I thought that's what was coming. I thought it was one of the items that was being shipped, but maybe it's not in print yet. I don't know. All right. So what's coming up next week? Well, on Monday's show, I am going to page through and take a first look at Oathmark. Yes, Battles of the Lost Age, which is from Osprey Publishing. This also just showed up today. So I will be taking a peek at this, as well as Bane of Kings, which is for it. So Melanie is talking about how they've never played or DM'd Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay because there's only so many things you can DM. That is true. That is very, very true. So on Monday, we're going to take a look at Oathmark. That is a miniature system. It is a epic battle system. I do believe it is not skirmish level. I think it's armies. So we are going to dive on into that. Then on Wednesday, we're going to take a look at the Swords and Wizardry Complete boxed set. Now, I did review Swords and Wizardry Complete, but a year and a half ago, really, really liked it. So Frog God Games got on that bandwagon that everybody's digging those little digest-sized books, kind of like old school essentials. I think they're the ones that has caused everybody to go, ooh, hey, let's do a little box set. So we're going to take a look at this, as well as the accessory pack, which includes a referee's screen, more monsters. So it's got a little bestiary in here, and the Baron's Gambit, which is a little adventure. So that was kind of cool. So the fine folks over at Frog God Games sent this along. So Kevin says they're hoping to get their Swords and Wizardry box set soon. Cool. Yeah, I'm sure Kevin probably got his through a Kickstarter. So thought I thought they were almost done, or they were done with making sure that they had everybody who had pledged support on the Kickstarter taken care of. I thought they'd fulfilled it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's what's on next week's shows. I was planning on trying to go to 3 shows a week in August. I'm not going to do that yet. And it's not necessarily that I don't feel okay. I feel pretty good. Like I said, Sunday was a crappy day. So I got to experience one of those bad days, man. But I'm not sure what's going to go on with the cardiovascular rehab. Because when I first did it, I've mentioned this before, I thought it was kind of a waste of time. But then I have also heard people mentioning, in fact, I thought Flaming Heron was one of them in chat, who was talking about that when they did it, it was pretty draining. So I'm thinking, uh-oh, what are they going to put me through? So I'll find out. We'll see what's going on. So yes, Kabuki Kid, I am feeling good. Thank you. And no, there's no need to rush anything. But the thing is, you'll also see other videos too. So, you do see reviews and stuff like that. I'm going to do my best to have 2 reviews the rest of the week. So what I'm shooting for is I'm trying to make sure that every week there's like 4 videos. So a couple of live streams and a couple of reviews. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Also, don't forget to check out the Gaming Gang Game Auction. That really helps me out every year. And I should point out, anything that's up there each week is only going to be there for the week. After that, it's probably going on to eBay. So if you want something, snag it. But there's no game auction at Gen Con this year. So that's usually what I tend to do is that's why I did a game auction last year, because there was no Gen Con. But I tend to bring a bunch of games that are never going to see the light of day again. And I take those to the Gen Con auction. And usually that funds the next year of me doing this. So, but without the auction, don't know. All right. And 1-2 Cub, welcome aboard. Says they're glad I'm on the mend. Yes, I'm doing pretty well. Feel pretty good. So still got the tightness up in here. Just never goes away. It's always there. Strangely enough, remember I was talking about kind of the gurgling. It was weird that I would get. It was almost like this little like gurgle when I do different things, right? And Sarah, who is normally Sarah D, if I remember right, and it's just Sarah. I just say Sarah, who's usually hanging out in chat, had said, "Oh, it might be because of the like the inflammation and stuff like that might be going away." So it was funny. So I went and had my stress test, which I did not push myself in the stress test, that is for sure. Because I was like, I'm not going to set like a really high bar they're going to go after me on for this rehab. But I had mentioned it to the nurse. I said, yeah, it's weird. I said, it's like almost like, like I want to, like if you were belching, right? And kind of like weird. And she said the same thing Sarah said. She said it could be the swelling and inflammation is just going away, and now you have more space. I was like, I could have just asked somebody in chat. Why did I have to ask a nurse? So, all right. Cool deal. I noticed Hunter Perkins had popped in to chat. Good to see you. As I'm just about to wrap up. So anyway, once again on Monday's show, Oathmark, going to jump on into this, and Bane of Kings. So, yes, Kabuki Kids laughing. Chat medical advice. I know, that's why I thought it was so wild. I was like, holy, it was like exactly the same thing. So I thought, oh, I wonder if Sarah's a nurse. So maybe that's why she said that. All righty. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live right here on YouTube, I'll also tell you when I upload other videos, such as yesterday's interview with Mark Greenberg from Necromancer Games, as we talked about Necropolis for 5e and Swords and Wizardry. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Those of you who hung out and chat, keeping me company, thank you very much. Always appreciate people taking time out of their busy lives to hang around with this goofball as I just, babble on. But I also realize there are a lot of people who do not have an opportunity to watch live. Thank you so very much. Doesn't matter if you're watching on Memorex or however you happen to tune in. I appreciate anybody taking time out to watch. So this is the final stream for this week. Like I said, I'll be back on Monday. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you is able to get in plenty of great gaming with your gang. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel, or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel. And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.